Behind me here, we've got a remote hydro mining cannon, which is essentially the only one in operation in Australia that's fully remote. The operator can control this cannon from up to 1.2 kilometers away by using a solar powered receiver, and then transmits it back to the control room. So I'm Hayden Murphy. I'm the project manager of the XR3 hydro mining operation. My background, I started as a car mechanic, then moved into shutdown fitter in the mines, fixed plant, and then started up as just an operator at this operation, and then progressed my way up from there into the project manager role. We started construction of this operation in February 2023, getting the pumps and equipment rebuilt, and then did a test run of how to set it up. And then we mobilised out to the mine site and then started mining in June 2023. Since then, we've mined about 1.2 million tonnes of coal tailings, and then about 500,000 tonne of saleable coal has come out of that. We started out by using a manual hydraulic mining cannon, which only had a range of about 20 metres. So the operator had to stay down on the dam. They were exposed to hazards such as strata failure, weather, heat, rain, and then during lightning or severe weather events, we'd have to remove them from the dam surface. Now that we're in remote mode, we can continue to operate through some of those weather events. While we reduce the hazards that the operators are exposed to, the operator now has full control over the plant through a computer that he's got in his control room. He can use that to start and stop pumps, increase flow speeds, decrease flow speeds, manage the tank level, manage how much pressure he's got coming out of his cannon, and then maintain the performance of the plant. Some of the challenges that we've had initially starting out was we started out with a pontoon mounted pump in the sump, and so what would happen is as the sump height increased, the pontoon would start to float, and then that would cause the solids to flow to the bottom. As they're the heavier material, the water would sit on top, so it would reduce the amount of solids that we were pumping to the plant. We've now moved to a submersible pumping system, which allows the pump to sit at the base of the sump where the heavier solids will flow, and then we can maintain more consistent solids and better production. There are certain availability challenges through weather events. If we had more than 25 and 50 mil of rain, that could lose weeks and months of availability of the plant due to weather. So now we've overcome that challenge by moving to a remote system. We've had an amphibious excavator mobilised at the end of 2024. So initially that was just used to dig sumps in areas where the tailings were saturated, but we've now innovated and used that amphibious to now dig trenches to make sure the water flows in a direct straight line, prevent flooding in areas where we don't want tailings to be saturated. We're currently running a target of 140 tonne per hour, and that works out to be about 3,000 or more tonnes per shift of tailings, and then of those tonnages there's about a 37 to 40% recovery, sometimes more depending on what location we are in the dam. The future for the cannons, we've moved from manually operating the cannons down on the dam to a remote cannon operated from a control room. The next step of the evolution of the mining will be to have a timed sequence with certain parameters loaded into the cannon, which then the operators will just monitor and make sure it's operating correctly, and then allow them to do regular check-ins, but also free them up to use that resourcing elsewhere to make the operation more efficient. There's many positives for engaging XR3 to do the hydraulic mining. Remining the tailings and getting a saleable product, it's efficient. There's only essentially water and a couple of machines and labour. It's quite cheap to run, as well as there's the added benefit of removing the tailings from the tailings pits will enable a cheaper rehabilitation process in the long term.